For more on the funeral of the late Supreme Leader, we are joined by academic researcher and author Dr. Reza John Vadedi, live from Oman. Thank you for joining us. So, Vadedi, how significant is this funeral for Iran, both politically and symbolically, at such a sensitive moment in the region?
We have to understand that Ayatollah Khamenei was not just the leader of Iran. He was also a spiritual leader and very much influential in the way that many of his followers all around the world, including Pakistan, Iraq, and many other countries in the world, listened to his political views and how Muslims could support each other against the empire, which is the United States. So Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral is essential in the sense that as Muslims, we always have to have a funeral to be able to grieve over the loss that we have had, to come to some kind of close the process of having someone who's important to us in our lives being taken away from us. So I think this is important. The funeral is important not just for Iranians, but also for many other Muslims. That as we can see, many Muslims have traveled to Iran to participate in what will be most probably the largest funeral procession ever taken. So we have many delegates, also prime ministers such as Pakistan prime minister, and many other leaders as Tajikistan and Armenia and other countries are also attending this funeral.
So Pakistan is represented by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Field Marshal Simoni, and other senior leaders. So how do you assess Pakistan's role on its growing importance in Iran's regional diplomacy?
If we remember in 2016, Ayatollah Khamenei gave a speech, and in that speech, and I'll quote what he said about the Pakistani people. He said, "I believe that the faith of the Pakistani people is deeper than that of many other Muslim countries, or perhaps better say almost all other Muslim countries." Ayatollah Khamenei had a very strong love and affection towards not just the Pakistani people, but Pakistani culture through the poetry of Allama Iqbal. He had very much respect for the political leadership in Pakistan, such as Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who helped establish Pakistan. And also he respected many of the Islamic scholars from Pakistan, such as Sayyid Abdul Ala Maududi. So Ayatollah Khamenei had a very strong affection towards the Pakistani people. And previous leader before him, Imam Khomeini, had a very much strong relationship with Kashmir. And that's why we can see that many Kashmiris have such a reverence for Imam Khomeini and Ayatollah Khamenei. They both had a very strong love for Pakistan, Kashmir, and that culture. And this goes to say that Iran's relationship with Pakistan has obviously grown stronger in the last several years, and specifically as Pakistan acting as a mediator between Iran and the United States. If you remember, before the war, Iran was utilizing its strong relationship with the Omani government to act as mediator. But after the war, it turned towards Pakistan. And I believe that Pakistan wants to find some kind of negotiated peaceful resolution to this war, because Pakistan will greatly benefit from its strong relationship with Iran. If you remember, a few years ago, Iran wanted to supply Pakistan with gas, which would have helped the Pakistani industries and economy to grow. However, under the pressure of the United States, the pipes were laid up to the border with Pakistan, but the continuation of Pakistan receiving such, cheaper gas from Iran did not come to fruition. So the problem is that Iran and Pakistan have always wanted to have a strong relationship, strong economic and political relationship, and grow that relationship. But the enemies of Iran do not want Iran to have good relationship with its neighbors. And you remember, Pakistan has demonstrated its strength when it was fighting, a few months ago against India, and demonstrated its strength. So Pakistan and Iran and Muslim countries such as Turkey, if they work together, they can bring peace to the region without having to have American interference in the region.
Thank you, Reza. And do you expect the funeral to become an opportunity for high-level diplomatic engagements, or particularly on a regional security, so the US-Iran dialogue and the future of the Strait of Hormuz?
We have to bear in mind also, other than the fact that countries are sending delegations and its opportunity to possibly meet with other members of Iranian leadership, the United States and the Israelis have threatened the funeral and have threatened Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Khamenei, the son of Ayatollah Khamenei, who's now the current leader of Iran, the Islamic Revolution. with an attack or death. And this has to demonstrate to the countries in the region that all of these countries in the region, not just Iran, are not safe until the American presence in the region and the Israeli interference in the region is removed, such that all countries from Pakistan all the way up to Turkey and Egypt can then relax and work together as a Muslim ummah and not be threatened constantly by the enemy, the United States.
And so looking beyond the funeral, so how do you see this event shaping Iran's regional strategy in its relations with neighboring countries, especially Pakistan and the Gulf allies?
If we look, this is the first time that the head of state of Iran will be his body will be taken for a procession in Iraq for a day. So first his procession of him will be demonstrated in Tehran, then Qom, and then it will go to Iraq where the holy cities of Najaf and Karbala are, and then brought back to Mashhad for a final funeral. So this demonstrates that Iran is building and has built over many years, not just political relationships with its neighbors, but it has deep and tied cultural and religious relationships with all, if not most, of the countries in the from Pakistan to Iraq to Azerbaijan to all the other countries, even Tajikistan, where they use, Farsi as a culture and as a Persian culture, and Afghanistan. So this demonstrates that Iran wants to build a strong neighborly, brotherly relationship with all of the countries around its borders.
Thank you, Reza.